Good day. It's Easter Monday morning and we've had quite a bit of rain, which of course will do everything a lot of good. We're due more rain later on today. I have to say, looking at those broad beans, they look much better than they did a week or so ago, 10 days ago, when they were looking a bit yellow. There's so many flowers on them. Oh, look. Oh, an iris coming up. I hadn't seen that. Oh, wow. Oh, look, that looks a bit fat in there as well. Oh, I think that one's having... Oh, and there. Oh, gosh, that's so exciting. I hadn't even seen that. Oh, dearie me. This lickness here is doing well as well. We've got one here which is doing okay. This one's been struggling a bit, but it's getting there. It's getting there. And I noticed, I put sunflowers in here. I noticed there's a few sunflowers coming up, but there's also, I can't see on camera there, look. There's cinquefoil, so I'm going to have to disturb the soil and get that out. But anyway, back to the broad beans. Yeah, they're definitely looking better than they were. Still quite pale, but not so yellow, which is great. But look at all the flowers. I mean, I've never known so many flowers. And no sign of aphids yet. No. I had noticed aphids on our roses, but I gave them a spray of grazers. White cabbage butterfly and aphid spray. I don't use a lot of it, but when I see aphids on roses, yeah. Oh, look at these. I mean, that's just gorgeous. There are ants which milk blackfly, so maybe the ants are getting ready for blackfly, can't say, to come. But what I have been noticing is the lack of slugs and snails. Actually, I can see a slug there. But I thought it would be a good opportunity, with the soil now being moist, to get those nematodes down. And I think we're going to put some into this bed. I may not do them all today, but I'm going to put some into this bed. So yeah, that's the NemaKnight. Let's just have a quick look at it. This is the NemaKnights Nematodes biological slug control, which I've just opened. And look, I'm not sure, can this focus in? They're like little cream pellets, and yeah, they look like slug eggs. I mean, you know, that's ridiculous, but they do look like slug eggs, which of course they're not, or one hopes they're not. And it says shakeable slow release formula, safe for birds and wildlife, no refrigeration required, but it does say to store in a cool, dark place, I think. Directions: use outdoors in damaged garden areas, treat garden around base of plants where damaged areas or insects appear, because they do various things for insects as well. Simply remove product, seal under cap, reattach and flip open lid. Yeah, because I've got another one here which I haven't opened yet. You can see there's a lid, so there's a sort of spooning one and a pouring one. So I'm going to take this cap here fully off and put that back into it, and then go over to the boar beans. Right, so I sprinkled some sort of between the plants and they bounced around the base, which is fine, and we're due more rain later on today, but I thought I would give these a quick water now. So I've given each side a watering can, and I think I might give them another one before I go, and then we'll have the rain later on. So what I'm hoping is that those little balls dissolve into the soil, so that the nematodes that they contain obviously go down into the soil. Nematodes are totally natural. These are ones for slug control, particularly slug and snail control, and basically they feast on slugs in the natural order of things. So what we're basically doing here is increasing the population of slug control nematodes that appear naturally in the soil. That's what we're doing. It's a biological control, it's not a chemical control. So yeah, we'll see. Yesterday, which was Easter Sunday, I finally got on top of this job, which was weeding underneath and taking out the sankfoil that was really developing under here. In particular sankfoil, but there were other weeds too. And I just generally tidied up the bench. There were some crates with pots and things down here. They've all been sorted now and tidied away. I've still got bits of weeds there that I need to put into a perennial weed bin. But yes, look at that. I weeded that last week, and the rain that we had on Tuesday has really helped any weed seeds germinate. So there's still a lot of weeding to do. I did get on and do another job yesterday, and we're just going to travel back in time a little bit. And it's all to do with those things in the end of the bed there. Let's travel back 24 hours. It's Sunday morning, and late in my day yesterday I was offered some Verbena Bonariensis, and in the clump was also a self-seeded marjoram. So I said to the fellow plotter, who's got really good soil, I don't mind digging up plants from his place. Oh yes, I'll definitely take some of those off your hands. Most of these clumps of Verbena have self-seeded. Well, in fact, all of this has self-seeded and grown over a year or so. And I didn't have time to take them out yesterday, so I came down early this morning and have taken them out. And one, I think I'm going to put them all in the ground. I was going to say I'll put one in a pot, because I'd like to have some in a pot, but actually I think they'll be best in the ground, and I know exactly where I'm going to put them. This oregano stroke marjoram, there are actually two in there. I will be potting up for our gate sale, which is going to be a bit earlier than usual this year for various reasons. Anyway, won't go into that. Not my jurisdiction anymore, which is fine. So yeah, I'm just gonna pop these into the end of a bed, and I'm going to show you where they're going. So those Verbena are going to go in here along this area. It's an area that I've had flowers before, and we have chicory that comes up at the edge here as well. So I thought it'd be a good place to put it. Gets quite a bit of sun, which I believe they like. I did think about putting it over there by our overground ponds, but it does tend to get pretty weedy over that end. And as you can see, if I lift that up, the rhubarb, which we let go to flower each year because that's great for casting shadow over the ponds, which helps wildlife. Yeah, they're going to flower. So yeah, I think I'm going to put them all in here. In fact, I don't think I am. I know I am. That was a nice job to do, and such a generous gift from a friend of mine, a fellow plotter just a few plots away. I know that they had self-seeded and that they weren't something that he wanted in that area, but you know what, that's still a generous gift in my books. When I was taking the cap off these, I noticed that there was a paper disc, or cardboard disc in fact, which I've just dropped. A cardboard disc inside here. So in putting the cap back on, I'm going to put that disc back in there. It must, maybe it just helps keep it dark or keep it dry. I mean, it's sensible. So I'm not quite sure exactly how much I put down. It feels as though I haven't put down very much. I have done, those are 2.4 meters each stretch. So 2.4, 4.8, so that's 9.6 meters in length. Maybe half of that is, maybe a third in width of a meter. So that's maybe 3 to 4 square meters. And this does do, it says 20 square meters. So yeah, I think by putting it around the base of plants that you want to protect, that is absolutely the best way of doing it. You get more bang for your buck, if you see what I mean, rather than scattering it over the whole bed. And of course, one hopes that with the increase in the number of nematodes in that bed, that those nematodes themselves are going to proliferate, and you'll end up with more. You know, that is part of the point. Though it's interesting that I'm trying a biological slug control in a year where, dare I say it, where slugs and snails, I can say this, where slugs and snails currently aren't as prevalent as they were last year, because by this time last year our beds were inundated with slugs and snails. This year, currently, that is not the case. So yeah, fingers crossed. I hope that bodes well for the future, but I hope I haven't just jinxed myself in saying what I did. Right, I'm going to leave it here for Monday's segment of A Week at the Plot. I wasn't going to do a segment when I came down here today. I was just going to check on a few things. And anyway, I have. There we are. Any comments, any questions on Planet Vegetaria, of course, because this will be going up, just put them down below. And I'll see you very soon for another segment of A Week at the Plot in a day or so's time. See you then. Bye. Good day. Just looking at the germination of our tomatoes. Notice some nibbling there and nibbling there of germinated tomatoes. Nothing in these yet, or well, there's one here and one there in there, but the germination, I mean, it's really odd. These were all the same seed here, nothing here and 5 over there. Anyway, no germination at the front, but as I was noting that nibbling over there, I went under here where I keep pots, which I've been meaning to move so that I can find any slugs and snails much quicker. And sure enough, on one of the pots, there's a snail. So he or she is going onto our compost heap at the back. And I will just pick up these and double check that there's none in the sort of space areas here. I don't think there is. No, can't see any there. I've done the same for that one over there, which is our curry squash. No snails there. What I have noticed in our slightly later sown cucumbers, there's a bit of ground heave coming up here. Still waiting to see if this one will come through though. But yeah, I will do those lettuce tomorrow. But now I'm just going to spin these trays around, because those tomatoes, I spin the trays around every couple of days so that when they start leaning towards the sun, particularly in the poly, I turn them around and then they lean back the other way. Gives them a bit of activity. But yeah, these seem to be doing all relatively well at the moment, though we're getting some quite cool nights again, which I think is going to stunt their growth a little bit. I'm going to give these water and then let's pop into the poly. Having watered in the greenhouse, I notice lots of standing water in the trays out here. That's about 1/2 inch, I would have thought, in there. We did have a lot of rain Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, and yeah, these have filled up, so I don't think we'll need to do any watering outside today. In fact, everything looks pretty fine out here, apart from a little bit of slug damage. The nematodes I put down, was it last week or was it this week? I can't remember. This week is just vanishing. But yeah, we've these have still been, this one here and this one over here have both been munched a bit, but the others seem okay. But one of our Taunton has definitely been munched over there, which is a shame. As you know, I try not to use slug pellets out here. I don't mean nematodes, I mean the slug pellets, even the organic ones, because the organic slug pellets, which kill slugs and snails, they still also cause issues for other soil creatures, including worms, which of course are one of our best friends on the allotment. But look at this chicory. It's amazing, as is this big Taunton Dean. Going to be harvesting that tomorrow. Anyway, I was going to look in the poly, wasn't I? These had a good water on Tuesday afternoon and now need another good water, but you know, they're cropping really well. They really are. We've got a good few weeks out of these yet. And the beetroot here is okay. Spotty germination, actually. And those are spring onions, which are really starting to come up now, which is great. Very pleased to see that. Our ceanothus is looking lovely. It always looks a deeper blue in real life than it does through the camera, which is a shame because it really is gorgeous, utterly. And then coming round to here, I know we're going in towards the sun. There's our shrub honeysuckle, which I'm hoping to propagate. Well, I will be having a go at propagating after it's flowered. Lots of new growth on there this year. Yeah, you'll remember I gave it quite a hard cutback a couple of months ago, and I think that's really benefited the plant. It seems to be going for it this year. Maybe not quite so much in terms of bloom, but in terms of growth, definitely. It's just going to be a short one today, just a brief visit to water. Once I've finished off with the camera, I'm just going to weed this bed. I'll be putting beans in here in the next couple of weeks, maybe the first week of May. So yeah, I'll be weeding that pretty soon. What I have noticed over here is that the blueberry that we inherited, which is this one, I think is largely dead. I think it's just died over the winter, which is a great shame. But there we are. Things don't live forever. Those two in there are doing okay. So yeah, maybe I can reuse this tub for something else. I'll think on that. In the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye, and I will see you another day. I think we may be making some nettle tea relatively soon, because we have quite a magnificent bank of nettles there, and instead of just strimming them down, I think we'll make some more nettle tea. Anyway, that's for another day. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. It's now Saturday afternoon. I've just done some strimming. The plot this week has mainly seen a lot of tidying and weeding, and I've reforked this bed at the front, so that's now had a second really good weeding. This is where the squash are going to go this year. Over here, I've given that bed a weed, but it needs another weed. I was going to put beans there, but I've decided that it would be better to put courgettes and cucumbers there. So that's where they're going to go. I had that dead blueberry in this pot or tub, and I had a single, well, one that was dead and one that was alive in this one. I've taken the one that was alive out and potted it into that pot, and these now have gifted seed potatoes in them, which is great. What else have I done? Oh, I've moved the it's in the middle there. Hydrangea there. That pot that it's sitting in has got lots of wood chip in. Tomorrow I'm likely to weed this bed, not this bed, this path, and put wood chip down on it, because I'd rather weed through wood chip than leave that bare. At least it'll discourage some weeds growing. Everything else is sort of looking much the same. Oh yes, we saw these, didn't we? Look, you can see the flowers coming on those iris now, which is lovely. And yesterday I was thinking of having a pint while sitting in this chair at the end of my day at 5:03. And then I thought, no, get up, Paul, and start hand weeding this bed. So I didn't do a before shot, stupidly, but it's sort of maybe half hand weeded now, but at least you can see the main plants that are in there, and I'll carry on weeding around. It got to this area here and I was just a bit too exhausted to carry on, but I'm going to carry on and do that this afternoon. That's the tub that I have taken out from this one flower border bed. At least we can see that there are actually some plants in there that I want to be in there. And then I was looking up here and strimming this path, and I've decided that I'm going to take up those two slabs. They're no use or purpose there. I put them there for some use and purpose years ago, but that use and purpose has gone by. Don't know what it was now. Not going to look back 5 years to find out, or 4 years, whatever it is. Might not even be on film why I did that. And yeah, have carried on strimming. That top area I really need to do, and I think I will do a plot tour soon to show people that my plot might look good in some areas, but in other areas it doesn't. Oh, and look at this rhubarb. Isn't it magnificent? Really magnificent. Big plane going over. And if we come over here, it's sheltering the ponds. There's a below ground pond down there, and this is the above ground pond here. I've done some raking of the grass that I've cut. Still need to weed over there. But yeah, I'm going to carry on with weeding that bed. Oh, and I took out, I'm not sure if I said, but I have said on Planet Vegetaria, I took out a huge bit of cinquefoil from that front bed that I weeded the other day. I left it here to show you. I'll put in a photo of what it looked like. But look, it actually grew through a hole in that stone. And this root is 17 inches long. 17 inches from here to here. So this was growing, oh, it's come off now. This was the bit that was above ground up here. This was in the soil, and all of this taproot was below the surface. Yeah. My Rosebud Motel key ring, and I'm going to be sowing some real seeds. Morton's Secret mixed lettuce, not grown them before. But yeah, all of this Aquilegia's coming out. Just there. That will be out soon. Oh, happy days. Happy days, but busy days. I'm grabbing at least an hour every day to get down here. Not surprisingly, a red ant's nest. I'm glad to have got that path open again. It has had our artichoke in it for quite some time, though the artichoke died and a shoot of it is actually at the side of a bed, which meant that I could easily open up that path. Though I'm glad I had this crowbar, which actually was a crowbar that was left by thieves when they broke into our allotment site several years ago. We found it. It was used to break into sheds, and we found it, and I thought, well, there must be fingerprints on that. So of course I bagged it up carefully and kept it for the police, and the police were sort of like, no, we don't need that. So I thought, well, actually I'll keep it, and if the police don't want it, I'm sure one day it will come in handy. And I have to say, there's been more days than today that that crowbar has come in handy. So yeah, happy to have it. After I'd done that, I popped across the road because I felt a little bit thirsty, and I was buying myself a pint, and unfortunately my fingers were a bit dusty and they wouldn't unlock my phone to pay. So I had to go into the gents and wash my hands thoroughly and then come back out. Unfortunately, then when they were dry, they opened my phone so I could pay. I don't usually have my card with me when I'm down here because everything is on my phone, but there we are sometimes. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to carry on pottering. It's Saturday afternoon, as I said before. I'm going to do about another hour down here. I'll most probably be down to do another hour tomorrow. And of course, you know, in my videos of a week at the plot, I do show what I do at the plot each week, Sometimes I'm doing more, but you know, I tell you, that's the nature of the beast with a week at the plot. I tell you what I'm doing, and I will tell you things like, we're going to do some nettle feed at some point with the nettles around the compost bin, but then we don't do it when I think we're going to do it. We do it at a later time, but things do get done. And I have to say, I'm pretty pleased with where we are, because every single week since the 25th of April 2020 there has been an upload of a week at the plot, showing exactly how a plot can be managed either well or poorly, because I've had some really bad years in that time, with working on the plot every week. Because I really think to keep on top of a plot this size, you need to work on it every single week, and I mean every week. I don't mean more in the summer, though we do generally work more in the summer. I mean there are jobs to do every single week of the year. And I think my plan this year, my strategy of getting the beds ready that we were going to be growing in first, and getting those done as soon as possible, is really paying off so far. A few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, I started doing the jobs that were clearing paths and unblocking paths and things like that, which make it easily, the plot more easily accessible from all different angles. And I think that is paying off as well. Keeping on top of weeds is paying off. Getting on top of beds where we have let them go, like this flower bed, I hope that will pay off. The next area after this flower bed, there are two really that I need to get on top of. One is the back area and the side area by the poly, and the other is the compost bins where the nettles are. So some of those compost bins need to be emptied so that we can start again. I've also noticed that my hot bin, did I say this earlier in the week? My hot bin vent at the top, I think, has been ripped out by a squirrel. I have seen a squirrel on top of my hot bin, which is a shame because that lets too much air in for the hot bin to work as it should. So I'm going to contact hot bin to see if I can get that vent or a replacement for that vent. Fingers crossed. Anyway, yes, so this is, I think, the 285th or 286th upload in the series of A Week at the Plot. And next week, when we start, we're starting in the 6th year of A Week at the Plot, which I think is quite an achievement. I know I do things quite differently in terms of YouTube than other people, and maybe because of that I don't get the views. Though I do honestly believe that the content I deliver here is pretty worthwhile. I won't say valuable, but it's worthwhile. And having all of you lot that do watch this along with me is really a joy. And answering your comments, which I might not do too swiftly because of work, you know, it really is grand to have those. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I am going to go now. Whatever is happening in your garden, your growing space, or your allotment, I hope, like me, you're trying to keep on top of it and you're feeling some sense of achievement. What will we do next week? Who knows? But it will be another week of A Week at the Plot. See you very soon, and happy growing. Bye.